Hello, welcome to School with the Mind. Hello, hello. I'm running a little late. In fact, I'm running extreme late, so we only have 25 minutes. And you know that we're imagining this is Radio P 430. And so what we're going to do today, and I'll tell you why I'm late. I have a good reason. The reason I'm late is because I discovered a book on the stroke, having a stroke, and it's called The Defiant Mind. And it's about this gentleman called Jack the Bird, and it talks about the idea of our understanding of how the brain works after injuries of this nature, and how incredibly difficult it can be to be locked inside your mind where you're still functioning quite high in terms of your emotions, your intellect, but at the same time you can't communicate. So your ability to speak your thoughts or communicate your thoughts to another, it becomes a kind of a terrible prison. So it's about this one man, Jack, who became very brave and went through months of being in the hospital, emerged from there and began his therapy and his recovery towards rediscovering a way of working with his brain so that he could still be a part of the conversation, as it were. And it was such a nice tale. I really had a lot of trouble leaving it behind. And then there was all kinds of theory about the idea of memory and when your first memories actually register, at what age that is. They said 3, but certainly memories that you talk about come at age 3, but we all know that from 0 to about 5, it's an absorbent mind. So the memories, there's all kinds of things we don't even know that enter in, but certainly knowing how to communicate that from a 3-year-old perspective, yes, that might be something, a mystery, another mystery. So we don't want to go cracking that, though. Some things should be left. So this is to Jack the Bird. So, I guess I'm going to run out really fast and get a book for you because our time is a little shorter. I am going to go home after and, to be honest, continue to play on my own on my other keyboard because I'm developing my composition style and in relation to my handprint on the piano and the ways in which I can take this piece of anatomy, boop, 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 snap, snap, and turn it into perfectly human interaction with ease to produce musical compositions. All right, so I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, so I decided to do actually something a little different. I didn't actually go out after all. I decided to stay in because I found this in the library. They're having a Polish film festival. And you know that we all have a very great appreciation for diversity and people contributing each in their own way, their strengths, while also appreciating the strengths of others, a very important part of our world as we move forward into global dimensions with boundaries, but, without walls. So I thought my choice of the one that I liked was this story. It's a touching story about a Polish family who save an abandoned Jewish child during the Second World War, and it's called The Righteous. So I think that if we just look at that, the term the righteous, when you're in a sort of a war-torn area where all the rules have been turned on their head and everything you know about civilization has been completely dissipated, that's when being truly righteous becomes the most important thing you will ever do. And when we think about the period of time with the Gestapo and the terrible punishments and intimidations and the villainy that existed in the horror that was known as Nazi Germany, we tend to find people that, yes, definitely had to be blamed, but then we find these quiet heroes. And I know that certainly Poland, during the time of the war, was one of the countries that was facing the menace of Nazism. And so to hear this kind of contribution, which is, we often don't hear these quiet, smaller stories. And so I think that would be a really touching tale and would kind of lend credence to the idea that righteousness does exist. And it usually comes right when you least expect it sometimes. And it's hardest when there's chaos and when, as I said, all the milk and honey land kind of stuff of a regular life has vanished. I guess that's when it's the hardest to stay righteous. So sending courage to some of the people in those war zones. May you be righteous. Even as you start to feel the claws of savagery and barbarism clutching at your heart and your mind as survival becomes less easy and equally tantamount to existence. There was a house in New Orleans they called the Rising Sun. I was talking about music with a friend of mine, and I'm sorry I can't remember the name of that group, but we were watching the vid and enjoying the music, that sound, and he was telling me that that band was having to compete against some pretty big people like the Beatles, and they did happen to make it, obviously, because we all recognize that song. And the reason I bring that up is it is quite a beautiful song, and he talks about his own personal life, this young kid, and the struggles he had gone through with a family that was really very, I guess, not sure, your poster family. They had a lot of struggles, and he sings it with, some parts, so it was quite the personal story that he was doing, a biography there in the music. And I just happened to pick up Abbey Road, and it's a book called The Best Studio in the World. Here you go. There it is. I am a fan of the Beatles, and I do remember listening to Let It Be on the Abbey Road album, and I'll never forget them crossing at the crosswalk, and it was just really fun to see them and the boys doing their music, and they were together for such a long time and brought so much to the music world. Everyone knows about their 10,000 hours or more in some of the German bars, playing just to local crowds before they became quite the sensation and developed such a fan base. Interesting about the whole idea of fan base and how that grows and builds, and then how the fan base also sometimes has to move back a little bit when they get so strong, so that the artist still continues to do the voice that will matter to them, not for a small scale, but some of like the Justin Bieber crowd. I'm sure all the roar sometimes must, I'm sure it's exhilarating, but the muse usually likes something a little calmer. I'm not sure. All right, so here we go. London-born singer Helen Shapiro was another female solo talent to emerge from Abbey Road. She signed to Columbia at just 14 because of her mature throaty vocals. Oh my, so this is 14-year-old. Oh dear, we're having that controversy here. Whether that's a good idea for mature levels or not, and whether it's the industry that's telling them they're that mature enough for that, or whether it's actually really not allowing them to grow 360 in all their other directions, so that the gift they have ends up really being more than just a singular ability to vocalize and sing in front of an audience, just sort of a well-rounded kind of personality for really bringing forth the music. And I know I'm going to get controversy for that, but it's truly what I feel. It's not just about developing a talent in the voice for stage or for recording. It's about a person, growing a person, so that their music just exudes out of them in a way that's such a gift to the rest of us. And who knows, I don't know, but I believe that in most cases, you haven't lived quite enough life yet. When you're a teenager, you have a lot more other areas that are really your gift as well before you start tracking the stage. But what do I know? So I'm going to keep feeling it here, and but I'm going to read this to you. So because you know I like to bring up the controversy, and she's wearing some boxing gloves, just to let you know. So there's some really great high-end images of her in boxing gloves, and yeah, she's looking smiling, and yeah. All right. It says signed to Columbia, and I don't know about you. Oh, they're gonna hate me for this. But Columbia is a talent scout. Yeah, and no offense, all of them are, and they're out to find the next best sound and bring that sound forward so they can produce records for people, keep their fan base satisfied, yeah, and make money. Let's face it. They're not teachers that are trying to develop or grow people. They're not coaches. They're not parents of these people. They're studios with a very particular job. Now, I'm not demonizing them, okay? No, I wouldn't do that. But it's a very specific culture. Okay? It's very specific. That's all I'm going to say. Then I'm going to let you decide. Okay? All right. So, when she released her first single, Don't Treat Me Like a Child, in 1961, that was when she was a teenage star. She had throaty vocals. Working with producer Nori Paramore Shapiro, she enjoyed several years of prosperity before her popularity declined. And this is part of the whole process and timeline of being a star. It's not really that in the moment. It's a lifestyle altering, and it's pretty hard to go back. To be in a regular team, it's a huge fall. Ironically, her beehive hairdo and singing style were seen as outmoded, despite the fact she was still younger than many of her peers. The Beatles wrote Misery for her, but it was declined on her behalf, something she later cited as a missed opportunity. Oh dear. One group whose career took on an unorthodox trajectory were British R&B singers Cliff Bennett and his band The Rebel Rousers, under producer Joe Meek. Their early recordings released to Paraphone, but failed to make an impact. The group spent several years mainly touring Germany, where they met the Beatles in Hamburg. The latter recommended them to their manager, Brian Epstein, that was nice, who signed them in the mid-60s. I hope you can hear me over my piano thundering here. In 1966, Planet and the Rebel Rousers finally chartered with a cover of the Beatles' Got to Get You Into My Life, produced by Paul McCartney. Their star had waned by the early 70s, and Bennett gradually retired from the music industry. He became an unlikely shipping magnate, though later returning to tour with various lineups. And here's Helen Shapiro in a quote: "The best years of my life, I know, are those when I am young, and since I'm sure that this is so, gonna have my fun." So I agree with Helen in terms of the phrase for all teens out there: don't treat them like a child. Thanks, Helen. That's the message for you teens. I'm not telling you you have to be performing or in the studios or singing, but I do understand. I do encourage you to know we do not want to treat you like a child, because you have very excellently and serendipitously for all of us graduated developmentally out of childhood once you reach teenhood. And so if you're feeling in any way that we are treating you, we adults, we society, are treating you like a child, make sure you're correct though in your definition of what a child looks like versus the comparing society of what you would expect to be treated as a teen, then yes, we are sorry, because you deserve better. Here we go. Okay, so we're continuing with this, our like 25-minute version. Usually I have at least an hour and a half, an hour. And I just wanted to, I have about 5 minutes left. I just wanted to read a little of Porphyrian Tree for you. Let me get a little intro here. While we're road hopping here. Our Abbey Roadster. Oh, I bet you're doing some cool road trips out there for the summer. To go to the Toronto Jazz Festival in a few days. So maybe I'll see some of you there. Okay, Porphyrian Tree. Let's roll the pages. Oh my, this is great. I think I read this part before. It's about the cloning, augmented reality, human cloning, and the character at one point, he's having to sell this stuff to his colleagues, and he creates these graphs, elaborate pie graphs of the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter kind of profit margins for what he's doing. It's really villainous, and he has this crazy biz mind as well, and no ethics around it. So he's bringing out these models, and he's drawing others like him to him while he's bringing forth these horrible enterprises in, I guess it would be a kind of human trafficking, but not the sexual kind, the kind of trafficking which would be cloning. It's kind of human trafficking of another sort, because you've used people's DNA to create things. So that kind of whole conversation. And then, of course, the idea of augmented realities, which we talk about in our times. And I have to say, if I may, when we talk about technology in the classroom, it's always one of those precarious limbs that we walk out on, a bit of a tightrope sometimes, trying to decide what is too much in terms of cost effectiveness versus benefit to the learning curve and to the whole development of the child, while also taking into account the fact that they are perfect little humans. And so we don't want to break any aspect of that biology or physiognomy or mental balance by introducing tech that's going to be invasive into the educating environment. But there has been recently quite the push towards that, and I'm not saying let's go back into the forest and live in trees or huts, but I'm saying that there's so many studies going on that tell us that it's not really the best idea for brain development or development on so many scales. But so many people, the pressure is on to have them world ready, which is what we always say. And world ready doesn't necessarily mean tech savvy. I know I always say this. And so we talk about what's the developmental age. I also saw the other day a couple of girls watching the adults on their phones. There were 3 adults on a bench, and the little girl was sitting on one of those cute little disc swings, which are very safe, and they're not strapped in, so they have a lot of space. And she was happily, swinging away there, and she was looking over at the bench, watching how her adult counterparts were socializing. So I just quietly mentioned, she's taking in how you socialize, because we are the role models. So she was right in absorbent mind. So she's seeing this, this is how they do it. And they weren't talking to each other. Each of them were in a bubble with their cell phone in front of them. The other child, funnily enough, was talking a little bit and was with someone. But that's not where the girl was looking. She was looking at the 3 adults on the bench. So thankfully, I want to thank them, because when I mentioned that quietly, they started interacting with each other as humans, so that would be really the thing that she would see first. And then, of course, the other behavior. But you would be surprised how the powers of observation in a child are so astute. You have no idea. So I would, I don't want y'all to be on edge. I don't want to be on edge as well, because, think that they're watching us. But the power to watch as a learning tool, to observe, I would not underestimate that. It's right up there with doing, the get her done philosophy, and the talking, to figure out the doing, and the reflecting. So I think I have to fly out of here now, because 3:01, and I think that they are ready for my piano room. Okay, thanks much. Hope you enjoyed Imaginary Radio P430, because I don't really have a radio station, and I just bored and have to make the next level kind of fun with this. So thanks for joining me. School of the Mind.